So, hello, Cancer, and welcome back to Nicole Myths, Astrology and Tarot. This is your 2022 forecast. We're doing a month-by-month breakdown. I'm using my Patch Tarot to pull a milestone energy for each month and then clarifying cards with my Chakra Wisdom Tarot. We start the year with the Hermit card, whose duality is meditation versus isolation. And ultimately, the Hermit card, when it shows for you at the beginning of the year, is about understanding a deep need to get away from quote-unquote civilization. So whether you are consciously choosing it or not, there's a detachment from the everyday life of people. Okay, you might be very much in your own world in order to achieve some sense of peace and detaching from the chaos that others can sometimes cause. It can muddle the mind, muddle the thoughts, muddle the energy. And so this is a kind of sit back silently inside the self and nurture the seeds that are creating your own path, healing the things that you need to heal within in order to move forward. It is a call to get out of the way of whatever situations are going on in your life and to truly seclude yourself. Everything you need is within you, and within you is where you're going to end up going in order to transcend whatever you might be facing in the moment. All right, because the Hermit card is truly a card of illumination and wisdom of the heart space. It's going within and figuring out what it is you really want. Now, the clarifying cards, we have the Four of Cups, the Eight of Cups, and the Princess of Wands. And I think what you're realizing, Cancer, is that as isolated as you may feel, right? We're talking about the duality, meditation versus isolation. For as isolated as you may feel, it's your soul going into a meditative state, right? A calmer state. It's asking you to detach. So whatever it is that you're doing alone or doing on your own, don't let the alone feeling get the better of you. It's a soul meditation type of month. Okay, what you're doing when you're detaching in your alone space, forced or chosen, is allowing the soul to reset, right? Allowing the clarity to come in when you're not dealing with the mental and emotional fog of everything else going on. Like this month, other people's problems just simply aren't your problems. You have things that you need and want to do for yourself, and they need to get done, because the Four of Cups in this particular deck, there's other cups floating around, on the outskirts of the card, but there's this one cup. It's glowing. It's a little bit bigger than the others, and it's all that the figure is looking at. It's all she wants. The heart space, the feminine energy, is truly yearning for one thing in particular, whether it's experience, part of the self to be refound, a person. It could be any number of things, but it's one thing that she's longing for. And there's a willingness to be vulnerable to get it, and yet still needing to let your guard down in order to be able to reach it, right? Because in the card, she's holding this very fancy sequined dress up against her body, right? She's holding this very fancy outer covering and staring at the cup, wishing she could just grab it. But the only way for her to grab it, because the rest of her is absorbed into the tree, okay, that she's kind of lying up against. The only way for her to grab it would be to drop the dress, drop the fancy outer covering, and use the one way that she has her one arm to reach out and claim it. Okay? The idea of dropping the dress or the fancy outer covering is symbolic of being vulnerable, being really real with the self. The only way to reach it is to drop the guard, drop the facade, drop everything that people would expect you to be, and simply focus on the self, which is why this Hermit card is so important. The Eight of Cups talks about feeling the lack of fulfillment, like something's missing. And the Princess of Wands calls for the reinvention of the self. You know, there's a bunch of little fairies flying around her and a huge deer or elk in the background, and it's almost like knowing you have to turn and follow into the deep woods, right? That Hermit card, who is deep inside the woods and far away from civilization and people. It's like, you know, you need this time to detach and realign with your own self to figure out how to achieve the obtaining of what is missing, right? That special cup, that one cup that's missing, because if you add that one special cup to the Eight of Cups, you get the Nine of Cups, and that's the wish fulfillment. That's the wish granted. So understand this month is about you getting deep with you. And if that means separating from other people in order to achieve it, then that's what you do. Other people's problems aren't your problem this month. That's how the year starts with January. For February, your milestone card defining the month is the Moon. And the duality is introspection versus lunacy. It comes out with the Two of Coins, the King of Cups, and the Four of Swords. So the Moon illuminates a pathway before you. If you look at this card, it illuminates the pathway before you, which we have some kind of trepidation about. There's a nervousness or almost a desire to hesitate. On either side of the pathway, there's two different embodiments of Anubis that are before you, waiting to see what you'll do. You know, there's two jackals that stand by, wondering if they're going to get a meal out of you. And in the distance is the full moon that appears as the destination, and above it is the scarab, you know, that provokes you to kind of go into a mystical realm of the self and dig. The presence of the Moon card is a call to explore the deeper aspects of your subconscious mind and a need for illumination on your shadow self in every sense of the word. There may be experiences in your past which you wish to ignore, refuse to observe, or even deny, but steps must be taken to resolve the traumas. If you stray from the path, your own darkness can consume you, and you will be lost in the anarchy of your mind and emotions. You know, this moon energy that defines the month is about recognizing what drives you to do what you do, or prevent you from doing what you need to be doing, right? This is very personal. This is why it was so important last month to detach and go within, because the deeper you dive, the more you dig up about the self. Where are the conflicts that you deal with? Where do they come from? How do you override that? How do you use your own intuitive or receptive powers and abilities? Because the moon is your luminary. It's your defining planetary body. This is a big deal, February, for you. Going deep within the self and figuring out what parts of the self deep under there are in fact not serving you. It's almost like looking at a computer program and knowing that there's glitches and bugs and having to dive deep into the actual programming and taking the time to correct and bug fix each thing so that it runs more smoothly, it's more effective and efficient, there's less glitching, you know what I mean? It's more enjoyable to use the program. It's no different with the self. There are certain things embedded in the coding of your own psyche that are creating glitches or annoyances in the experience, frustrations in the experience, causing things to shut down, right? Short circuit and shut down, crash. There are certain things that you need to go within and say, okay, I need to fix these particular things. You may benefit from some type of like childhood regression therapy or childhood regression session, right? Whether you do that with a professional or a holistic healer, right? You may greatly benefit from going back into your past and trying to identify where these things are if you find yourself having a difficult time doing it on your own. The Two of Coins, the King of Cups, and the Four of Swords clarifying. The Two of Coins, if you look at this picture, there's a feminine figure opening a door and walking through it to a ship on a calm sea with a bright sky. And the room that she's in exists with a ship on a stormy sea, a tumultuous sea, turbulence, and a stormy sky. Okay. The Two of Coins is acknowledging that your reality is not your ideal. There's the real and the ideal, and your real life is not matching the vibration of your ideal. You want something better, something elevated in vibration, something you can trust more, something more consistent, something with better odds of success. Because if you, let's just say you're a transport ship, I mean, are you going to go transport goods in the middle of a fucking storm, or are you going to wait for the weather to clear? You're more likely to succeed and get your shit to where you're going if you go with clear weather, are you not? It's no different. If you want to experience the best possible experience, you need to make sure that your own internal weather is clear, or you might not get to where you're going because of the storms. The King of Cups acknowledges the fact that you may be very emotionally detached from other people. You may be going on so deep inside yourself that it might be difficult for you to become emotionally invested in other people. People could be having breakdown days, people you love and care about. And on any other day, you might be like, oh my gosh, and what can I do to help? And blah, 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 and be full on hands on. And yet this month, you might be looking at them like, I don't have any answers for you. I don't actually feel anything. I know I'm supposed to feel empathetic. I know I'm supposed to feel happy for you or feel terrible that you're dealing with something or whatever, but it's a very emotionally detached and reserved type energy. You might have so much going on beneath your own surface that you can't pay attention to the surface stuff going on around you at all. It's almost, the way I'm feeling it, it's almost like feeling numb. It's like you're sorry that people are going through things and you don't have the same words or sympathy that you would otherwise, or people are going through amazing things and you just don't have the same cheer, pep, so excited, you know what I mean, type emotion. It's very muted and monotone. That's what I'm feeling. Your responses. You definitely, with the Four of Swords, are on a mental hiatus. You're on a mental break. You will not, it's almost like you will not let yourself get wrapped up in anything. You're too preoccupied. Okay? You're too preoccupied in February because you working on your own programming, you making sure that your weather is clear to move forward is the most important thing. You're not allowing for distractions because that's on a very deep level the priority. You got to be clear. You've got to be running smoothly. You're no good to anyone if you're not. That's February. For March, we have the Empress as your milestone energy, with the Three of Swords clarified by the Hanged Woman, the Moon, and the Three of Cups. Now, what I immediately found interesting is that you've got 4 threes. The Empress is a 3, Three of Swords is a 3, the Hanged Woman is card number 12, results in a 3, and you have the Three of Cups. If you add all of the numbers together and break it down, it also results in a 3. It also results in a 3. So, ascension energy, right? Being able to ascend above where you find yourself. The Empress is a nurture versus neglect energy. Okay? Nature versus neglect. The Empress is an energy that has the possibility for a lot of manifestation. Okay? She's the perfect vessel to bring ideas into manifestation. She represents love and compassion by nurturing everything around her with the spirit of, like a divine mother. Seeing the beauty in everything that can be created. She's the one in the deck that essentially brings forth the reality or birth or spark of new consciousness. In March, especially because we hear words like this and we immediately think, I have to love and nurture everybody else, have compassion for everything around me, see the beauty in everything around me. I would challenge you to apply this to yourself. Apply the love and the nurturance and the conscious awareness of your own beautiful energy and your own potential and the ideas that you have. Nurture them into manifestation. Allow yourself to be the vessel or vehicle of a new consciousness, a new way of thinking, a new way of feeling, a new way of perceiving, a new way of creating. Be the best qualities of a mother that you've witnessed and never witnessed for yourself. Be your best mother to you. If you were feeling sick, would your mother make you a cup of tea? Would she fix you a nice bowl of hot soup? Would she tell you to get comfy and relax and not to worry about anything? Would she help you create a space to where you can be in your own divine flow mode, your create mode, and smile because she gets to watch you being creative and enjoying your passions? What would the ideal mother do for you? And then treat yourself that way. Be your own best mother. Care about yourself, nurture yourself, flow with yourself. Dive into passion and allow your ideas to manifest. Allow your ideas to manifest. Get connected with people who can support and nurture your growth. Spend time in nature. Would your mother not give you time to go out and play? Would she not let you go see your friends when you wanted to go see your friends instead of, saying she's too busy or too tired? Like, what would the ideal mother do? Would the ideal mother make sure you got your homework done first and then said all your time after that is yours? Okay, Mom, thank you for giving me structure. Do that for yourself. Get your to-do list knocked out so that the rest of the day is yours and you can feel good about it. That's what March is about. Because to be completely fair with these cards, the Three of Swords with the Hanged Woman, I think you're feeling a lot of heartache or pain in other people, and it's not your own energy. Like, if you're feeling upset, if you're feeling down, if you're feeling sluggish, if you're feeling tense, it's other people's energy, not yours. When you focus on yourself and nurture yourself, you allow, or rather you stop allowing other energies to interfere with your own energy field because you're strengthening your own. Other people's energies are less likely to affect you when you are busy nurturing yourself. You want to spend time with your best friend? Go spend time with your best friend. Whether they're a literal friend or a partner or family. Hang out with your best friend. Feel good about that. Do what you do. Whatever pain you're feeling from other people, you can't carry it with you throughout the day. Because that's going to start distracting you. The Moon card in this particular deck talks about the light wolf and the dark wolf within each of us in our minds. One is love, the light wolf is love, and the dark wolf is fear. We can't buy into fear. Well, who's going to help them if I don't? Someone has to help them. Well, unless you're guided to, unless you feel great about being able to do it, and it's a fuck yeah type choice, abso-fucking-lutely I'll help you out, no problem. If it's not that, chances are it's a fear-based choice. It's only going to distract you. It's only going to cause you stress. And the fact of the matter is, you are not the only one there to help any given person because Spirit is. Spirit has a whole fucking team filled with solutions. Because if you're not being guided to it with a fuck yeah, then it's a fuck no, not now, not today. Not today. Not right now. If you've got to convince yourself to do it, make excuses to do it, have reasons to do it, besides you just feel guided to, absolutely, well, are you really in alignment then? Because the Three of Cups is absolutely about distractions. It's about distractions. The way I described the energy yesterday, when it came up in readings, was a Dungeons and Dragons analogy. They're just NPCs, non-playing characters. They're characters in the story, but they are not the main player in your campaign, in your life story. They're an NPC. I don't care what kind of staple they are in the campaign. They could be someone who continuously helps you out or brings smiles to and ease to your campaign, or they could bring constant challenge, cut deals with you. Well, I won't act this way if you do this for me. I won't cause you this problem if this gets done. You can have all different types of characters. Evil, neutral, good, lawful, chaotic, and everything in between. all kinds of different alignments. But they're just an NPC. How do you know who is a non-playing character and who is an actual player in your campaign, in your life? The actual players in your life will do anything to save you when you need help. They will do anything to bring you back from the dead. The players in your campaign, they have your back. They will fight side by side with you. NPCs won't. NPCs won't. Who's fighting with you and who is just a stop during the day? Helps you out from time to time. Gives you shit time to time. And who's fighting side by side? Understand where you're giving your energy. If you're going to nurture anybody outside of yourself, it's going to be your best friends in soul. Despite any other label, they're your best friends in soul. They will stand by your side and fight. They are not an NPC. They will fight the soul fights with you. They will go through the healings and the experiences and the leveling ups with you. NPCs, they only get more powerful in the game if you do. Playing characters grow side by side with you. So, be aware in March that you will be called to nurture yourself and be your own best mother to you, and nurture the people in your life that will always have your back in soul no matter what, that they support your soul, your purpose, that they help you out with your missions. That's March. In April, the milestone is the Lover's card, and it's the duality is marriage versus divorce within the self. Now, originally, the Lover's card was the Choice card, and this particular card talks about the duality of self that, one part of us is very mature and experienced, and yet there's another part of us that is still youthful and wants to enjoy and have fun and not be so hard up on the rules all the time kind of thing, like, who said you can't go run out in the rain? It's the kind of dualistic energy that says, okay, I could do both. Because the mature, experienced part of yourself will be like, yeah, well, if you run out in the rain, you're more likely to get sick and catch a cold. But the youthful part of you wants to run out into the rain and dance in the rain. And so you strike a deal, be like, okay, you can run out in the rain, but when you come in, you got to change your clothes right away. Make sure you warm up, have a nice warm cup of something, keep your insides warm, maybe eat something that has a little extra vitamin C in it so that, your chances of getting sick are way less. Make yourself some tea with some ginger or slice of orange and some lemon, whatever. And warm up. Get cozy in your blankets. So that both sides win. It's finding that balance in any scenario in your life. Being both mature about it, experienced about it, and yet still not losing your sense of innocence and play and fun. Who said you can't? Who said impossible? What? No different than your masculine and feminine aspects, the duality there. A part of you is very logical, reasonable, and it makes a lot of sense. Either you can do something and you can fit it in the time of your day with everything else that needs to get done, or you can't. You either have enough money in the bank to go to the movies or you don't. very logical. And then there's the other part of you that is very emotional, very intuitive and very receptive, that feels. And things either feel good or they don't. And this is the marriage of those two dualistic aspects. Like, it might make sense to stay with someone for monetary reasons, but do you feel good being with them? Does it feel good? Do you feel like yourself with them? Because if the answer is no, well, then your feminine and masculine would have to come up with a solution. Okay, so what is within reason that we can do logically? What can we do in order to help you feel better? Either where you are or elsewhere. Because if it doesn't feel good, it's not in alignment. When I say it doesn't feel good, it puts you in a fear state. It puts you in a guilt state. It puts you in a self-doubt state. It puts you in an insecure state. It puts you in an unworthy state. It puts you in a grieving state. It puts you in an angry state, a frustrating state, an excuses state, a worst case scenario kind of mentality, a defend the self, ego and pride state. It doesn't feel good to have to defend yourself, to explain yourself, to make excuses for someone else. Feeling pity for someone doesn't feel good. How do you feel better? Likewise, something might feel really good, and it just doesn't make any logical sense on how to do it right now. Can you accept that that's a goal then? And to not write it off as impossible just because it's not necessarily something you can do immediately today? Is it not a goal that you could start building towards? Can your mind not work with your heart and say, you know what, if this feels good to you, then I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to get it done one way or another. If this is what feels good, then we're going to chip away at it and make it happen. This is about the mind and the heart working together to relinquish the things that don't feel good and to prioritize the things that do. Always being mature about it and yet never losing your sense of fun. The clarifying cards, 3 of Swords, 2 of Wands, Ace of Cups. We literally go 3, 2, 1. Digress to progress. Make things simpler. If something is painful, 3 of Swords, if something is painful, you don't have to know how to fix it. You don't have to concern yourself with seeing a solution. You don't have to freak out if you can't see a solution. If you can't see a solution, it's because it's not your problem to solve. It's not your problem to solve, especially if you're feeling it from other people. If you can't think of a solution or see a solution, it is not for you to come up with a solution or see. It's not your job. Not your job to fix it, Cancer. Not your job to fix it. If you can let those two energies go, what you get is the Ace of Cups. You feel full because you're not being drained by things that are not of your concern. Remember what we're talking about. If it's energies that don't feel good, and we defined what they were, if it's energies that don't feel good, and you release yourself from being the solution to those problems, especially if it's being projected at you from other people, you free up your energy to fill and overflow. and the universe gets to work for you. When you start to overflow within your own energy and you're focused on what you need to focus on, what feels good for you to focus on, you're focusing on your feel goods, you're trusting your choices, you're loving your choices, you're enjoying your choices, you're confident in your choices, you're confident in spirit, you're loving who you are and what you're doing and what you are in fact capable of. You're being honest and real with yourself that all things are possible. And just because you're not the solution doesn't mean something or someone else isn't. And matter of fact, if you're not the solution, then someone or something else absolutely is. Being confident in that. Being able to see best case scenarios, trusting it'll work itself out, having compassion and mercy for others and not loading them with more shit. Having compassion and mercy for yourself, that you're not loading yourself with more shit. Because people create their own shit. Everybody does. They create their own shit. No one's exempt. So April, digress to progress. Simplify things. Keep it simple. Let your heart and your mind check off on the choices that you're making. Or cross out that choice because it wouldn't feel good to make it. Let your mind simplify things. If you don't know what the energy bank is, I highly suggest grabbing it from my Etsy shop. Because the energy bank book that I have explains exactly how to do this so that you can keep track of where your energy is going and start to break it down and make it simple. That's April. Keep it simple. For May, your milestone is the Wheel of Flow, which is the Wheel of Fortune. And the duality is fortune versus misfortune. And in the upright, it's all about the creative energy going out. You being in creator mode. So you've done a lot of conscious awareness type work for the first part of the year. And now the Three of Swords is coming out in the reverse. It comes out with the Nine of Cups and the Seven of Coins. For May, Cancer, this is going to be a big month for you where you're feeling a lot better, a lot lighter, a lot less influenced by outside energies. It's become a habit now to not be influenced by outside energies. You've done a lot of work to ensure that. It's rewiring the programming, right? Your programming would have been concerned with everybody else's problems. A savior type mentality, an overwhelmed mentality. And you've been working away, rewiring yourself since January to where it's finally become more of a habit, a shift in your character for the better, right? That you are actually feeling much lighter. The Nine of Cups is wishes being granted. You can expect a wish fulfilled in May. And with the Seven of Coins in this particular deck, the feminine is admiring the fact that the fruits of all of her work are starting to show. They might not be ready to reap yet. There might be more efforts to be made, but you can see them growing. You can see the results of your inner work starting to show and bear fruit. If you think about fruit trees, all the fruits start as a flower, and then they slowly start turning into the fruit bodies. They ain't nowhere close to ready to pick yet. You still got to take care of them every day, water them, you know what I mean? Make sure that they need nutrients, you fertilize it. It's no different with life. You've got goals that you've focused on, creative things that you've been inspired to give your time and nurturance to, yourself included. And the reality that you're in is starting to shift for the better. The outer is reflecting from the inner. Your inner work is starting to show you the results and what you can look forward to. That to continue in this energy would essentially bear a harvest, a reaping of the rewards of all your work. May, I'm looking at it as a very positive month. I think you feel a lot lighter. I think you're going to have a wish granted. It's almost like a nod from spirit. Like you're doing great. We know it ain't easy. No one said this shit was easy, but you're doing great. It's a nod, a hat off from spirit, acknowledging the work that you've done and continue to do. And it's got a wonderful reward in mind. So, keep up the great energy. That's May. Fortune. All right, so for June, your milestone is the Hierophant. This is spirituality versus intolerance duality. Okay? Comes out with the Devil, the Princess of Wands in the reverse, and the Two of Coins. Now, you have essentially set your new self into a kind of stone, right, as per May. When we hit a certain level of elevation, the shadow tries to creep back in and reclaim some of your light, redim your energy, okay? And I literally heard Florence and the Machine, like, it's always darkest before the dawn. Understand the Hierophant, right? Which in this particular deck is numbered by the Holy Star, the 6-pointed star. It's revealed, right? You are revealed. The Hierophant is revealed to be a great spiritual leader, one who embodies the essence of divine wisdom and knowledge, free from dogma. Is the basis of awareness of that which lies beyond the physical senses. It's the wisdom through which it's the wisdom that flows through him from all sources, teachings of histories past, lessons learned from life experience, the wisdom that he received through, his devotion to his spiritual practices. He is the harmony of the 4 elements, embodying the 5th element of spirit perfectly. He is both the learning and the teaching of cosmic law, and thus pours a new level of consciousness into the world from his heart space. The Hierophant is an indicator of 2 principal energies: learn from within and learn from each other. In order to achieve the highest level of consciousness possible, you must acknowledge that truly you are your own guru, and the subtle whisper of your heart contains all the wisdom of the cosmos in it. Further, we are all in this together, so living as one family is imperative in creating the new paradigm. Living as one family is living as one united humankind. We can live by old structures of the past or establish new ones moving forward. And the important thing is that we are taking our spiritual practices seriously and evolving as we go in every way. See, the Hierophant knows that you never stop learning. No different than Cancer, you were very aware last month in May that you are starting to see the fruits of your inner work, but that there's more work to be done. You're very aware that the learning is a everyday thing. It's our whole life thing. There's not going to be a point where we say, okay, the life lessons have been completed and we either learned them or we didn't, blah, 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 until, the day we die comes. And then whatever we didn't learn, we have to come back here and redo it, retake that test. So you're aware, as of right now, you are aware that you are essentially, because what the Hierophant essentially is a master of the divine mirror, the one-way mirror and the two-way mirror. The one-way mirror is the conversation that we're constantly having with other people that is really the conversation we're having with ourselves. That's why we always need to take our best advice given. If we're giving advice to someone else, the chances are we also need to take it in some regards in our life. That's the one-way mirror. Likewise, if you're expressing to someone that you're frustrated or you're angry or you can't fucking stand blah, 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 you are essentially saying those things to yourself in some regard to your life and your choices. Some aspect of your personality. That's the one-way mirror. We also are aware as the Hierophant energy that we are also having a constant conversation with our higher self from the outer experience. The two-way mirror. The conversations that our outer experience is reflecting because it's our internal experience. If someone's angry with you, how are you mad at yourself? If someone is let down by you, how have you let down yourself? If someone is expressing that they love you, are you not expressing from a place of spirit within yourself that you love who you are and the choices that you've made and how far you've come? It's a two-way mirror. The Hierophant's very aware of the mirror. All of them going on because we're all one. We're all one. Heck, we all exist because of your one perspective that you are able to perceive it, to receive the experience. It's all one. With the Devil, the Princess of Wands reversed, and the Two of Coins here. One, you could be dealing with Capricorn energy with the Devil card. It is a Capricornian card. To be fair, you may be dealing with somebody else's financial woes or financial concerns or financial needs. Feeling the financial stress or pressure. But remember the mirror. Who's expressing financial concerns? What's not good enough? Yes, in a two-way mirror, that's spirit telling you that you have creative ideas that you could probably put to use to become more stable. But in their one-way mirror, is it not their responsibility to resolve it if it's their problem? If they have an issue with it, it's their problem. If you have an issue with it, then it's also your problem. Then maybe you can work together to resolve it. But it's kind of like if the trash needs to go out and it's not bothering someone, but it's bothering someone else, who needs to take it out? The person who's bothered by it. Take it out then. If you don't have the time to take it out and you know someone does, then say, hey, can you stop what you're doing for a moment and take the trash out because I'm in the middle of doing something else that's important that needs to get done and I can't do both. It would really help me out and I'd appreciate it. One-way conversation, that's you asking spirit in the outer experience, hey, can you help me out because I'm definitely doing something else that's beneficial and necessary right now. Can you make sure this gets done for me so that I don't have to worry about it? That's like, spirit, I trust you. Hierophant understands. Maintain that spiritual Hierophant energy. Do not be intolerant. That's the adverse of the duality. Don't be intolerant. Don't allow other people's misalignment or lack of understanding, lack of spiritual knowledge like you have. Don't allow them to stunt your strength or the reinvention of yourself, your Phoenix rising energy. You're coming back stronger than you ever were before. Princess of Wands in reverse is a reminder not to get sucked back into quote unquote civilization or human mundane arguments, tete-a-tetes, right? Head-to-heads, ego battles. This is not about a power play. Don't let other people try and take your power. You ask them to take the trash out so that you don't have to because you're busy, right? I'm using an analogy. Take it however it resonates for you, especially if you rewatch this in June. If they don't get to it and they don't stop what they're doing to help you out, and you finish what you're doing, and now you have time to take out the trash, then take it out. But remember that they weren't there when you needed them. They weren't prioritizing you. They weren't prioritizing you. They were prioritizing themselves, which means they've got themselves as priority covered, and you don't need to prioritize them. People treat you the way they deserve to be treated. That's their lesson. If you are the spirit in the two-way mirror in their reality and they're not prioritizing you, they're not prioritizing spirit, well, they've got some lessons to learn, don't they? Think about that. Don't feel bad about creating distance between you and energies that are chaotic, energies that disrupt. Two of Coins, again, opening the door to calmer seas and brighter skies and clearer weather and getting out of the stormy seas and stormy weather. Do not allow other people's energy to bring you down in June. Don't forget how far you've come and that the reward is worth it to maintain consistency in loving your own self and your own spiritual awareness. That's June. For July, we got 2 very special cards that are unique to this deck. They are Holy Arcana. We got the All and the Truth. The Embrace Speaking duality versus the Silent Release energy. Comes with the Princess of Swords, the 10 of Wands, and the 7 of Cups. I want to read to you what these milestone cards mean, the All and the Truth. The All depicts an infinite field of spirit manifesting a never-ending spiral creation of holy temples, representing the infinite ways of appreciating and honoring spirit. The planets are aligned along this vortex pillar as well, depicting the celestial chakras as we comprehend them. This card is tethered to Da'at on the Tree of Life, which represents knowledge, the bridge between idea and what we call reality. It is the only true measure of how we may come to know God. When drawn in a reading, the All describes that in essence, anything can happen. There are an infinite amount of subjects to learn. There are an infinite number of pathways to explore. And while we may be limited, our souls and the spirit they emerge from are eternal. Thus, this card represents an opportunity to compassionately embrace a lesson we are learning, or to let go and let flow, depending on the orientation of the card, which is in the upright. The Truth represents the fundamental truth which unifies and connects all things in creation, the infinite sea of possibilities from which all manifestations, even the light, emerges. This is simply the concept of infinity. However, the concept of infinity only exists in the presence of the awareness of it. The relationship between consciousness and infinity is what allows for contemplation of the ultimate and supreme truth above all truths. The appearance of the truth in a reading is a call to bring awareness to what is true, and even to bring a voice to this truth, at the very least so that you may know it to be true yourself. The key, speak, indicates that in order for the truth to be heard, it must be spoken and shared. It is in the resonance of the truth shared with others that we receive the power of the word. Understand, with these milestone cards and the clarity cards with it, you're being called to speak about your experience and how you've healed and gotten past certain things. As the Hierophant from the previous month, you're being called to teach, to use the lessons that you've learned as the student to teach another student. Because when I saw the Princess of Swords, she's standing on an iceberg with a sword of truth. The iceberg represents someone who is a solid block of ice floating in an ocean. Someone who may be cold or shut off emotionally from other people, or having a hard time receiving love or being a part of the loving flow around them. Someone who's emotionally stuck. The Princess of Swords brings in swift, clear communication with the Sword of Truth, bringing light to the iceberg. The Ten of Wands in this particular deck, she's carrying all the wands, but she makes it look really fucking easy. And each of those wands she's carrying is in fact in what looks like a quiver. And she can use each of those experiences that she's carrying to hit the bullseye with someone else, because she's already been there, done that, felt this way before, got out of it. It's the compassion for other people that we feel, the conversations that we have with other people, because we know we've been there before. Our experience taught us. We know what it feels like to be in their shoes, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and we know how we got out of it. This is a truth conversation. Do not be silent and release responsibility when called to embrace opportunity and speak. The Seven of Cups in this deck, Seven of Cups usually represents confusion. Because just because you give the truth to the iceberg doesn't mean, if you want to spare yourself from the iceberg, that you don't have to jump off the iceberg and wash ashore while the iceberg remains floating in the ocean. Your truth might not click with them today. It might not click with them the next day. It might be something that makes sense to them months or years later. It doesn't mean you don't speak when you're called to embrace an opportunity to speak, to be the teacher when you're called to teach. Some people learn very well from listening. Other people are more visual learners, and they have to witness it happen in someone else's experience in order for them to have it sink in. Other people are hands-on learners, and they have to experience it themselves through and through in order to learn it. There's different kinds of learners. It's okay in July. If someone doesn't understand it right away and they got to learn it however they're meant to learn it, doesn't mean you don't share it. Doesn't mean you don't talk. Doesn't mean you're not present for them. Doesn't mean you're not compassionate and caring for them. You do as you're guided, and if you're called to speak, you speak. It might not make sense right away for them. It might not make sense for you why you, quote unquote, wasted your time, wasted your breath. Let me tell you right now, you didn't. You didn't. It's going to hit them eventually. Because if you learned it, and it was a divine lesson, one that we all share in the infinite realm of possibilities, and it's in their mirror, they'll learn it. One way or another, they'll learn it. Spirit's already making sure of it. That's why Spirit called you to speak. So be aware. July, you're being called to teach. And remember, the advice you give, any advice you give, you must also take. If you're telling someone you gotta let them go, they're toxic, there's a really good possibility that you gotta let go of the person you're talking to about letting go of toxic people, because you stick around them long enough, they're going to be toxic to you. Remember, you got to take the advice you give in your own life, in your own experience. If you got to create distance and let people go because that's the advice you gave, then so be it. Because remember, you got an experience for everything. You already know. So, that's July. In August, we have the star as your milestone. The duality is faith versus despair. Comes with the 6 of coins, the strength card, and the tower. Now, faith is looking beyond the chaos and despair in front of you. Okay? Looking beyond it. What's beyond fear? Trust. What's beyond guilt or self-doubt? Joy in creation. What's beyond insecurities and feeling unworthy? Courage and empowerment, willpower. What's beyond self-loathing, disappointment, anger, sadness? Self-love. Self-approval. What is beyond the lies and the excuses and the impossible? The truth. The possible. The motivation. The intention. What is beyond the worst case scenario? The best possible outcome. What is beyond ego and pride? Compassion and mercy, forgiveness. The release of judgment. Whatever you're facing in the reality that is less than bueno, look at what is beyond it. There is a divine reason for everything, and Spirit will always allow you to see why in hindsight. The 6 of coins is about understanding you know what you have to give and you can't give more than you have. You can't promise more than what you have to give. Spirit takes care of the rest. You can only do so much. Spirit will take care of the rest. You can't put yourself in an energetic debt. Mind you, there's 5 forms of currency. We're talking about debt, spending too much mental time, spending too much emotional time, spending too much psychological time being affected by things, spending too much physical time somewhere, spending too much of your financial abundance. You can't spend more than you have and put yourself at a detriment. It's like, yeah, I could help you out, but I can really only afford an hour. Yeah, I know you need $100, but the best I could do right now is $20. I hope it helps. Because you can't give more than what you have or what you need for yourself. Yeah, I would love to come over and spend 5 hours with you, but I need to go to the gym and I want to be able to take a shower. Like, I can definitely spend this much time there. I could help you with this errand or that errand. I can't do all of them for you, but I can help you knock these ones out. You can't put yourself at a detriment. That's the Six of Coins. And you got to be really strong doing it. Someone says, well, I need it all done. Okay, well, then you got to find someone else. If you can't accept partial and you need it all or nothing, then I'm not the person to help you. What you can't give, Spirit will give. The Tower card, originally it shot out in the reverse and I was guided to keep it upright. Technically flipped out sideways, kind of more leaning towards upside down. I was guided to put it upright. And I heard dodging bullets. Dodging bullets. Dodging energetic bullets. When someone takes more than you're capable and or willing to give, they drain your life force energy. They are draining and detrimental to your energy. Knowing that you can only give what you can give and nothing more. And that if you can't give what you can give because someone's in an all or nothing mindset, well, then Spirit will take care of it. And you dodged a bullet. You're off the hook for whatever crazy energy they were in. If they got consequences to deal with and lessons to learn, then they got consequences to deal with and lessons to learn. It's not your debt. It's not your debt. It's not your job to lecture people. People already know how they fucked up. You can go on a tangent about, well, you might have enough money for your electric bill if you didn't go and spend all this money last month on XYZ that you didn't fucking need. Be more responsible. They don't need a lecture. They already fucking know. They already know. You don't got to point it out. Strength is a card that tells you to curb your ego and the need to roar at people. I wish I could help you out, but I can't. I'm not in a position to. I'm sorry. I hope it works out for you. That's all that's required. You understand how they got themselves in the position they're in. They understand how they got themselves in the position they're in. They fucked up. Trust me, they're already kicking themselves in the ass. You don't have to kick it too. That just makes them resent you. Gets them angry and frustrated with you and start projecting their shit at you. Well, you didn't help me. I'm sorry. I wish I could, but I can't. I'm not in a position to. This is what I can do. This is what I can't. I got this going on and this going on and this going on, and I got to be responsible for myself too, That's August. Dodging bullets. August is dodging bullets and having faith that things will work out in the face of despair. Mind you, if someone can't help you and you need it, it's because they can't, and you got a lesson to learn, and you got to figure out your solution. You got to fix it. It goes both ways. Goes both ways. August. For September, we have another Holy Arcana. We have the Light, which is the duality of reveal versus conceal. Comes out with the King of Swords, the Two of Swords in the reverse, and the Nine of Cups. This is a huge clarity month. Huge. When I tell you Spirit has a rhyme and a reason for everything, now you will understand. You will understand what you didn't understand before, what you had question marks about before, what you were like, all right, Spirit, I don't know why the fuck you're doing that, but okay. Guess there's a reason. I'll understand eventually. Yeah, well, September is the month you understand. The light represents the formless, shapeless, and unknowable and undefinable source from which the entire tree of life emerges. It is beyond comprehension and serves as a reminder that no matter what we think we know nothing at all. When drawing the light in a reading, it speaks to the revealing and illuminating of something that is hidden. This is a total illumination, a lifting of the veil in order to vividly clarify something previously murky or confusing. Further, this is a creative light and so describes that this illuminating power may encompass a new illuminating solution as well. This creative power is infinite and is a reminder that Spirit is always with you. Everything is going to make sense in September. You want to talk about a harvest? King of Swords is a master of the higher perspective, sees things from the eagle's point of view. It sees the bigger picture, understands everything. Two of Swords in reverse. See, the Two of Swords upright is feeling completely blind and up against a rock and hard place. But the Two of Swords in the reverse is knowing exactly what to do and what to choose. Being so crystal clear. There is no rock and there is no hard place from which you are stuck between. What you have is the path forward. 9 of Cups is another wish granted. That's a wish granted. So not only are you super clear, not only are things being very much illuminated for you, solutions are popping up left and right, things are resolving left and right, and you may have a serious thing that you wished or prayed for granted. So whatever you're witnessing, whatever little miracle or big miracle you witness in September, it's because you prayed and intended for it. One of your prayers is being answered. And you're going to see and understand why every previous step was so important. Because without each step being exactly what it was, you wouldn't have been able to witness the wish being granted like you are in September. Awesome fucking month. Huge clarity, awesome month. In October, we have the truth as your milestone again, that duality of speak versus silence. I'm going to remind you that the truth represents the fundamental truth which unifies and connects all things in creation. That it is simply the concept of infinity, and that infinity only exists in the presence of your awareness of it. Infinite possibility and infinite potential. The key speak indicates that in order for the truth to be heard, it must be spoken or shared, and it is the resonance of the truth shared with others that we receive the power of the word. You know, they say, you know the truth when you hear it. You can't deny the truth when you hear it. That's why it is so important to speak out loud. It can be something so simple as, yep, I promise I'll be there. And as soon as you speak the words out loud, it sounds like it's false. A part of you in that moment might realize something might come up that you can't. And so you clarify very quickly, to the best of my ability. I will absolutely be there. Unless something crazy comes up, I will be there. Because that sounds more honest. Because you do absolutely want to be there and absolutely would, unless something comes up that prevents you from doing so. Make sure you have a plan B in the event that for whatever reason I can't be there. Just in case life happens. Hell, plan B might pop up and become plan A. And now you don't have to worry about it because they kept their options open, found plan B, and plan B became plan A. Speaking from your heart space, speaking with compassion for people, that you wouldn't want anybody disappointed. You wouldn't want to let anybody down is the truth. You wouldn't want to fail someone. You wouldn't want to fail yourself. Discern when you speak. Discern words that you hear. Someone can tell you that they are done and through with you, and you know when you hear it out loud that it's a lie. It might be how they feel in the moment, but it is not the truth, capital T. They are not done. They might be done right now, but they are not done with you forever. And you can let them know, I know this is how you feel. And I'm sorry that you feel that way. Just remember that I love you. And in the event that you find yourself at some point in time wanting to reach out to me, that I will absolutely answer. And I won't be holding any of this history against us, because I love you. And the truth will hit them, because you can't deny the truth when you hear it. And they might take their time, and they will heal, and they will connect to you in divine time when they're ready. You could hear someone say, I love you so much, I would do anything for you. And it can sound like a lie, no matter how much you want to believe it. And they might love you in that moment, and they might be willing to do anything for you in that moment, but that doesn't mean they're capable. They might not be capable. Good intentions. Terrible timing. Comes out with the Hanged Woman, the Queen of Cups, and the High Priestess. Your intuition is through the fucking roof in October. Tons of watery Piscean energy. The Queen of Cups, I always view it as a Cancerian card, but it's very, very much the embodiment of the feminine water element, the femininity of the water element. You will be able to discern quite well what people are saying, and learn to bank on what you're feeling and sensing and discerning from, rather than the actual words themselves. It doesn't matter what people say. It matters what resonates when you hear it. And if you can bank on reacting and responding with what you're intuitively picking up on versus what you're actually hearing, you will be much better off. Someone say, yeah, I'll absolutely be there. And you know they ain't gonna. You know something's gonna come up. You can already sense it, because the truth, that didn't resonate as the truth. Good intentions, bad timing. So if they say they're going to be there and it sounds like a lie, don't bank on them being there. Look for your own plan B to become your plan A and get them off the hook. Because otherwise they're just going to feel guilty. They're going to feel bad. They're going to let you down. They're going to end up failing you. And that was not their intention. Take that low vibrational feeling off of their future. Don't make promises you can't keep. And don't hold others to promises they can't keep. Discern and trust your discernment. All of the watery, intuitive powerhouse energy that you have in October, I'm telling you right now in advance, you know better. You know better. Someone doesn't come through for you, you knew better. You already knew they wouldn't. You knew it. Likewise, if someone says they're going to come through for you and you know they will, then they will. Be so fucking grateful. Express that gratitude. Express that gratitude. That is the other beautiful energy that comes along with these watery cards. The gratitude. If you can express gratitude for others, then you're also in the divine mirror expressing gratitude for yourself, because you came through for you. You discerned and you came through for you. That is the epitome of the energy surrounding you in October. The truth, the discernment of, and the gratitude for October. In November, the Moon card returns. And I felt when I saw it that you're closer on this path to reaching the goal than you were before. Much, much closer. It's almost like a revisiting for a test or trial to make sure you could still walk straight. That you don't get careless or reckless with your energy, your words, or your actions right before you reach the finish. Because Spirit's definitely working some magic with the Magician to grant another wish. 9 of Cups, again. This is your soul magic. Creating the result that you want. And the 10 of Swords came out sideways, and I was guided to leave it that way. And it was clarified by the Lover's card, which is essentially the choice. And in this particular deck, it is the union of the masculine and feminine, and framed and pictured perfectly with the shadow on the outside looking in and not a part of it. The choice is yours. Do you sabotage yourself? Or do you let yourself simply be reborn into your new experience and your new you? Do you love the person you've become enough to essentially let the old version of you go completely? That those remnants and memory, that residual self, gets wiped out. That's officially an old book with an old character. And you're a new character in a whole new book. And the old character is not in this new book. That old version of yourself died in the last book. And therefore cannot be in the sequel. November is about which version of you goes kaput. The old version that you've worked so hard to let go of this year, or the new version because, the temptation to be your old version was just too enticing. The old reactive self that reacts in fear and reacts in doubt and panics and doesn't feel confident, doesn't feel capable, doesn't feel worthy of a better experience, that's angry or frustrated or upset or has regrets, says things they shouldn't, goes back to freaking out over the worst case scenarios, who feels the need to defend the self and judge other people, who doesn't have compassion for themselves and no mercy. You really miss that person. You really want to pull them into the next book and let the hero that you've created die. It's like letting the villain win and slaying the hero. Like, what kind of movie is that? Where the villain wins and your whole world or life or whatever goes into apocalyptic despair because, you've chosen the villain over the hero. Final steps, final choice, Cancer. Spirit is letting you know all of your dreams are going to come true. Magic, energy, Magician, 9 of Cups, all your dreams are coming true right there. You just got to make the final steps past bullshit. Final steps past self-sabotage. Catching yourself before you dip into your old version. Remind yourself in November, you're not going to freak out. You're not going to panic. You're not going to get angry. You're not going to get disappointed. You're going to accept, surrender, flow, and receive what you've worked so hard for in your own energy. Because your inner reflects in the outer, and if your inner is truly healed and you have chosen it, then your outer experience will also be healed. It's your choice. Your choice in November. In December, we've got the Hierophant again, and it came out in reverse. Came out with the Knight of Coins, the 2 of Cups, the Magician, and the 4 of Coins. Let me be real clear, Cancer. You had a choice in November. Did you? Because, to be fair, the cards don't tell you things that are beyond your control. If you don't like the outcome, you can absolutely, consciously choose the opposite. In November, you had a choice. And come December, we've got the Hierophant in the reverse. The Magician clarified with the 4 of Coins. The 2 of Cups present with the Knight of Coins. And all of these sacral chakra cards. Do you not trust yourself to create better, especially in the realm of stability? Financial stability. Are you afraid that the universe will not take care of you? Has it not shown you this year that it does and will? Do you not trust yourself? Do you doubt yourself and what you are capable of if you were to continue the spiritual path of flow? If it's not a fuck yeah, it's a fuck no. If you need excuses or reasons to do it, is it in alignment? Do you not trust your heart being in control? The fuck yes versus the fuck no's, not now, not today. Because we have definitely, with the Knight of Coins, someone offering a very slow road where you must proceed with caution, a soulmate, 2 of Cups. Coming forth with a solution, quote unquote solution. Or what they're really offering is to put a shield between you and your highest alignment. Your new character, your new self. If you want control, you've got control. The choice is, in fact, yours. Ask and you shall receive. If you want this opportunity, you got it. If you want a greater opportunity, you got it. Do not doubt the infinite possibilities that you learned about this year. Do not doubt the truth, capital T, when you hear it and when you don't. Trust in divine timing. It will be a fuck yeah when it's meant to be a fuck yeah. It will be a fuck yeah when it is meant to be a fuck yeah. But if you're moving forward with question marks and fingers crossed and I hopes, hope is a beautiful name. It is a bullshit word. You either have faith that is what you're meant to do, or you hope that it works out. Where are you aligned going into 2023? I would suggest, based on these cards, that you proceed with pace, steady, slow, cautionary pace in regards to whatever soulmate this is. Because what they will gain if you jump in too soon is control. You are no longer in the driver's seat. You are back in your car with them driving and telling you what you can and can't do and where you can and can't go because they're driving. Well, it's my car, it's my life. Yeah, but I'm driving and I don't want to stop here. I don't want to go there. I'm going here. I'm doing this. I'll stop when I'm ready. Keep it in mind, Cancer. You choose what next year is going to look like. And you're choosing it at the end of 2022. How the story unfolds beyond that, that's yet to be seen. We got to get you here first. This crossroad. Old self or new self. Give your control and power to other people, or claim it for yourself. Follow your feel-goods. Follow your fuck yes. Everything else can wait. Everything and everyone. If they're meant to be in your life, they will wait. And they will not mind that you are in control of your own vehicle because you know what? They got their own car to drive. So I hope this insight helps you. Not just now, but on a month-to-month basis as you revisit it throughout the year. I hope the hindsight serves you well. And that the foresight gives you enough power and enough control and enough understanding to know where you have to be and in what headspace going into 2022 to make it the best year that you can. This is Nicole Myths signing out. My love and support is with you always. Remember to love each other, but most importantly, love yourself. Take care.